Alright, so again, a hyperbola is the set of all points in a plane, the difference of whose distances from two distinct points, the foci, is a positive constant. And so we're going to have here that c squared is a squared plus b squared. We have branches. There are two branches to the hyperbola. Vertices for each branch. You do have what's called the transverse axis and the conjugate axis. The transverse axis is the axis that connects the two vertices. So the x-axis here is the transverse axis. The conjugate axis is the perpendicular. In this case, it's the y-axis. The center is the midpoint between the two vertices. The foci are two fixed points inside the branches. So very similar to a parabola and an ellipse. Wednesday, we're going to put the chart together where we're going to fill it out. And then I think once we have that, just with the crazy bell schedule and testing and everything, it's like really throwing a wrench in this, but I really can't take additional time like I would like. But Wednesday, we're going to go through that and just kind of piece it all together. Friday, you'll have another day to just let it gel. Monday will be our quiz, okay? So it will be a week from today. All right, are we on transverse axis at least? Right here? Are you at least here? Can I roll it down? All right, the standard equation of a hyperbola. If the transverse is horizontal, the x goes first. But what I want you to notice on the hyperbola, A and B don't move. In the ellipse, A always moved, and A was underneath the larger, the major axis, okay? So you could always tell which way the ellipse went. The way that you're going to tell which way the hyperbola goes is which letter comes first, the x squared or the y squared. Most of the time we're going to keep these where the center is the origin, just to make our lives a little bit easier. But there are the two standard equations. Again, you don't have to memorize them, but you do need to know how to use them. Yeah?
Is that subtraction sign like what breaks the pieces apart? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, and if you think about it with the ellipse, that's what makes it the connected. Yeah. And then you have asymptotes. A hyperbola does approach an asymptote, actually two asymptotes. So it's y equals k, where k is in the equation with the y. And these go together, okay? If the transverse is horizontal, that's the asymptote. If the transverse is vertical, it's that way. All right, when you're ready, flip the page. Number 1, given the hyperbola x squared over 144 minus y squared over 100 equals 1. It says find the vertices, the foci, and state the asymptotes. Okay, so what we're going to do is A always comes first. So A is 12, B is 10. Then C squared is A squared plus B squared. So that's the square root of 12 squared plus 10 squared. So C is going to be, we can just do a decimal, it's absolutely fine. about 15.6. So watch what we're going to do. We are going to go ahead and graph this so you can get the handle on this. All right, the x comes first. So then I have vertices at 12, 0 and negative 12, 0. So let's go by twos.
Please excuse the interruption. I need Matthew Newland to the office, please. Matthew Newland to the office. Thank you.
And go ahead and make sure when you are doing a vertex, put a V on the graph. Because x came first, my major axis is the horizontal. The center is 0, 0 because I don't have x minus or y minus something up in the top. Now the b value gives me, so that's b is 10, so let's go by twos as well. And what this is going to do, the a and the b value create a box for us. Okay, the a and the b value create a box. The a value, what's coming first, it's underneath the x, so the vertex was 12, 0, negative 12, 0. So my hyperbola is going to go like this. So we're not doing like a ton of points or anything. Now the foci are on your major axis. So if it's 15.6, that's going to be 15.6 comma 0 and negative 15.6 comma 0. So we can just estimate where that is, but call it F. So it said find the vertices, the foci, and state the asymptotes. Well, if you go to the asymptote formula, this is for a major axis that's horizontal, so it's y equals k plus or minus b over a times x minus h. Okay, I got this from the front of the paper because it's horizontal. They're on the x-axis. Now, h and k are 0 because the center is 0, 0. How I know where the center is? The center is the midpoint that would connect the two vertices. Okay, so if my vertices are at 12, 0 and negative 12, 0, halfway between is 0, 0. That's where your center is located. So let me go through here. K is 0, B was 10, A was 12, H is 0. So we can just reduce that to y equals plus or minus 5, 6x. So it really isn't that bad. Now, here's something cool about this box from corner to corner. Okay, if I go corner to corner through the center, that's going to give me my asymptotes. So I can actually draw them and think about it. Sorry, that's supposed to go through the origin. Look, it's up 10, right 12. Up 10, right 12. Down 10, left 12. See how that works? It's pretty cool. All right, so let's do another one. Number 2 says you're given this formula for the hyperbola. Find the vertices, the foci, and state the asymptotes. Well, let's start with the center. Where is the center? It's not 0, 0 this time. We can read it off from the equation. 2, comma 3. Okay. Then A is 8 and B is 5. Okay, because when I look at those formulas, A squared always comes first. But because this is y squared, I now have, yeah, Savannah? Oh, nope, sorry, thanks. No, you're right. Thank you. Yeah, no, the center is always HK. Thank you. No, that's 3, 2. It always goes with the X first, thanks.
But the A is still going to be 8.
A is always 8, yeah. It's always the square root of that first denominator.
Okay.
Okay, so now, before you do your vertices, on Wednesday, I'm going to give you this chart, and it's got all these letters and numbers. I personally don't like to do it that way. I like to reason it out. So here's the center, okay? And put a C for your center. Because y is first in the equation, from the center, you're going to go A units up and down when the y is first. So if I go here, so if I want to list my vertices, if you're at 3, 2, and you go up 8 units, where is that? 3, 10. And then if we go down 8 units, what would that be? 3, -6. So let's just eyeball it because of space, but here's a vertex and here's a vertex, okay? So from here, you're going up 8, down 8. From the center now, the B value, that's going to give me the edges of the box. And the box are super helpful because it gives me the boundaries, it gives me the asymptotes. So from C, I'm going to count right 5, and I'm going to count left 5. And then this gives me the boundaries of the box. Now this is opening up and down. And then my asymptotes go through the center and the corner of the box. Okay, so let me talk you through it again. You find your center, and I apologize, you do the x coordinate first. So it was 3, 2. Then A, because A is underneath the first thing, this is Y, so you go up and down. That makes that transverse axis vertical. So I counted up 8 and down 8, and those give me my vertices. Then the B value tells you how to create your box. I went right 5 and left 5. So now we need to find the foci. Well, we know C squared equals A squared plus B squared. So C squared is 89. The square root of 89 is 9.4. Now you're going to go from the center in the direction of this first letter. So from here, I'm going to go up 9.4. And then down 9.4. From the center. So that should give us, so I have a foci at what? 3, 11.4. And then you take 2 minus the 9.4, and that'll be at negative 7.4. All right, then to do the asymptotes. This one is a vertical hyperbola. Again, you don't need to memorize these, but you have the formula on the front. This would be y equals k plus or minus a over b times x minus 8. Well, I have a, I have b, and I have x, and I have k. I have everything I need. So the K value is with Y. So this is Y equals 2 plus or minus 8 over 5 times X minus 3. And you do not need to simplify that at all. So again, the asymptote is 2 plus or minus 8/5 times the quantity X minus 3. Question? Ask away. All right, let's try number 3 then. It says sketch the hyperbola whose equation is x squared over 9 minus y squared over 25 equals 1. So A is 3 and B is 5. My center is 0, 0. All right, now because x comes first, my vertices are going to be 3, 0 and negative 3, 0. And put a V, and then C is for the center. Yeah, Joey?
The vertices is. You explain that again.
Yes. Okay. You need to figure out where the center is, okay? Okay, the center's at 0, 0. Then A is underneath the very first letter. And your vertices will be A units in that direction of X from the center. So this is 3 units, and you go right and you go left on the X-axis because X comes first.
Okay, so if it would have been Y minus X, could have been up and down?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, now B tells us how high up and how low to go to create the box. So we do need the A and the B. Now this one's going to open up and down. Oh, sorry. Ah, kidding.
I was like, I just had it. She lost me. It's like, okay.
Now you thought you knew what you were doing, huh? No, it's not where the vertices are. Sorry. Whoops. Whoopsie daisy. Now the foci, okay, the foci will be, C units away from the center. So C squared is 9 plus 25. That's 34. Did you use the square root of 34 already? Okay. 5.8. So here's a foci. Here's a foci. So the foci would be about 5.8 comma 0, negative 5.8 comma 0. Let's draw the asymptotes. Asymptotes go through the center and the corner of the boxes. All right, since it goes through the center, K and H are 0. This would be 5/3 X. Y equals plus or minus 5/3 X. Yeah, Shay?
How do you know which equation to use for the asymptotes?
Okay, do you see on the front where it says you have transverse is horizontal, transverse is vertical. What that means, if they're on the x-axis, that's a horizontal line. If they're on the y, the vertices are on the y, it's vertical, okay? Yeah, that's how you keep that straight. Okay, let's look at number 4. It says sketch the hyperbola whose equation is x squared minus 9y squared plus 36y minus 72 equals 0. Well, what's interesting is we're going to end up doing something similar to what we did with the ellipses. We're going to need to complete the square like we did before. So take a moment and look at this. What I did, and here's one of the tricky parts, okay, one of the tricky parts, is that you've got a minus in front of the y squared, so it does end up flipping the sign here, because it's a minus 9 times a minus 4y really is a plus 36y. Okay, so I take half of 4, which is 2, and I square it, but I technically have subtracted 36. So this is x squared minus 9 times y minus 2 squared equals 36. If you look at the first piece of paper on the front, hyperbolas are equal to 1. Hyperbolas are equal to 1, so you will always divide by the number over here on the right side. So if I divide by 36, I get x squared over 36 minus y minus 2 squared over 4 equals 1. So I have a center of 0, 2, A is 6, and B is 2. So it said we want to sketch the graph. So 0, 2 is my center. Okay, now A is underneath the first letter. This is an X. So I'm going to go to the right 6. So the vertex is 6, 2, and I go left 6. So that's negative 6, 2. From the center, I'll go B units up and down 2 units. So here's my box. So this one does open right and left. Here are my asymptotes. They go through the center and the corner of the boxes. Yeah.
Can you slow down just a little bit? 'Cause I'm having a hard time keeping up.
Sure, no problem. What I'm passing out is trying to help me slow it down is here's tonight's homework. It is 8 problems, so it's not a lot. All right, so are we okay on how we completed the square? Is that part, we're getting that down. The center is the 0, 2. A, I'm 6 units right and left because A is underneath the X. B tells me how the up and down on this one. Now let's find the foci. C squared is A squared plus B squared. So C squared is 36 plus 4, which is 40. So C will be the square root of 40, which is 6.3. So my foci, okay, my foci will go from the center to the right 6.3. So that's 6.3 comma 2 and negative 6.3 comma 2. My transverse axis, because it's going to axis first and you're going right and left, that makes it a horizontal transverse. So I look at my chart and the asymptote formula for horizontal is y equals k plus or minus b over a times x minus h. I honestly don't have them memorized. I have to look them up. Yeah. You need another one? Okay. Sadly, you need one. All right, so in this case, K is 2. B was, that'll be 2 over 6. That's 1/3 X. So I'm getting Y equals 2 plus or minus 1/3 X. Please reduce your fractions. All right, any other questions on number 4? All right, number 5. If I get to 5, you can do the homework. It says find the standard form of an equation of the hyperbola with foci at 6, 0, negative 6, 0, and vertices at 4, 0, negative 4, 0. All right, so they're giving us the information in a different sort of a way. The vertices tell me several things. If they're going from 4 to negative 4, A is 4. Foci gives me the C value. Now I can find B. C squared equals A squared plus B squared. That's 6 squared equals 4 squared plus B squared. Yeah, 36 minus 16. So B squared, I don't actually need to know B. I need B squared. And because, do you notice that the foci and the vertices will be on the transverse axis? That's the x-axis. So I'm looking at x minus h squared over a squared minus y minus k squared over b squared equals 1. I know it's this equation based on the foci and the vertices, or just one of them. I could figure it out. Now, what's the center? The center is halfway between your vertices, or they're halfway between the foci. It's 0, 0. So this is x squared over 16 minus y squared over 20 equals 1. So again, this is a lot of inference, okay? It's a lot of inference. It's not explicit in terms of, they're not just saying, oh, here's A, here's B, here's C. It's
painful.
It's painful?
Yes.
I don't see it as painful, but I do, it's thinking.
Well, you like math, so you don't see
I do, yeah, I do like math. All right, well, I still have 5 minutes, so let's get 6 in. We'll just keep going. Oh, yeah, okay, sorry. All right, you have enough here. Let's pull out the homework. And I sent you these solutions.
Actually, going over there, that kind of did